right, welcome everyone. Welcome to SMA Live Show 28. Got a big packed show tonight, so I'm going to go ahead and get right to it. But first, I got to acknowledge my man, Speedy. Fly, Eagles fly, Eagles touchdown, 1, 2, 3, E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! I mean, the guy is proud of his team. Congratulations to him and the Philadelphia Eagles winning their first NFL championship. You gotta love a man who commits fully and completely to his team. I don't know if he's taken that off yet. That's a topic for another time. Up first, we have got a very important guest. This guy is a leader among men and stuntmen in the Hollywood community, Lenore Stovall. I'm going to read his list of his IMDb page in just a second. Let me get him on the line. Stand by. Let's go ahead and get this. What do they call Mr. Stovall? He is a busy man, so gonna get him on right away.
Your call has been forwarded to an auto.
Ooh, dagger. All right, let me get him. This is always great when you're working solo. Let me see here. Shoot a quick text to him. I'm gonna try it again.
Your call.
See, give this a shot right here. Sorry for the technical difficulties, folks. One-man show. It is hard to do sometimes. Let me see here. I could give you more Speedy showering, but I don't know if you guys want to see that. Let's see. Up later on in the show, we have Mr. Anthony Price, who is now the head coach of Team KTOC. So we're going to have, of course, AP on and Mr. Stovall on just as soon as, let me see, he's messaging now. So bear with me, take a look at some of the tournaments we have upcoming. Coming up on our SMA tournament scene. Of course, we've got the Irish Open coming up the 1st through the 4th of March. And, of course, next week, the Compete Nationals. Also, Grand Slam is coming on up. Got a lot of things that we are working on for the upcoming tournament season. Sorry about this, guys. It's hard to do things all by yourself when one thing goes wrong like that, but working on it behind the scene. Let me go this way. On the phone right now, we've got Mr. Lenore Stovall. Lenore, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's up, Mallory?
How you doing, sir? We're going to have to go old school. Got the phone actually up to the microphone. You guys listening right now, go ahead and let me know if you can hear the conversation going on. I'm going to continue to get that alternate means of hearing you, but I think we can hear pretty clear. Let me reach out to the audience. Guys, here, Lenore, okay, he's literally on the phone. Give me a shout out, give me a thumbs up if you can hear him. Gotta wait for a second. Got it. Check 1 2.
1 2. Check 1 2.
I think we got you loud and clear. Yep, got some thumbs up. All right, just to break it down real quick, I just went through your IMDb page, and I mean, it's a list of like everything on there. I was going to go ahead and rattle off a bunch of things, but let's start with what's new and fresh. You helped out, or you explain to me exactly what you did on Netflix's newest hit, Altered Carbon.
Altered Carbon, I was the stunt coordinator and second unit director, overseeing all the action.
Now, I've known you for a long time. I know the journey out to Hollywood has been one that's been interesting. Can you give us or share us a little bit of, what it took for you to get out there and get going for someone that might be interested in this line of work?
For me, it was more about being inspired. I love martial arts. I used to compete a lot, and after the tournament circuit, you always wonder what's more. Whether you're in college, whether you get another job. And for me, with teaching at karate schools, etc., I remember it started with Blade. Once I saw Blade, I knew I wanted to get into it. But the funny thing about it was, I remember Blade beating about two black guys' asses in a fight scene, and everybody else was paying attention to Blade, but I saw two brothers fighting him, and it was really fast. But said to me, there are black stunt guys, because the audience paid attention to the actors, but I was watching the guys who was fighting, and for me that was big, to think about being a stunt guy, maybe getting on the screen one day fighting actors you look up to.
That is an excellent point. I remember, I remember reading or looking at a documentary that when Bill Cosby, back when he was blowing up, back in the scene, late '60s, it was really hard to get someone to perform his stunts because there were no black stunt actors out there, or there were very few. And it was because of Cosby saying that, hey, I'm only going to do this movie if you hire these guys to go ahead and, double for me because they need the work. With today being out there, obviously, like I mentioned, I'm gonna, stroke the ego a little bit and read some from the IMDb page. How long did it think you to take? And I know you wouldn't say you've broken through, but how long do you think it took you to grind for getting out there and getting involved in what you wanted to do?
I want to say probably about 7 years. About 7 years. Here's why. I mean, look, I came out to be a stunt guy. My idea was, crashing through windows, doing fight scenes, getting set on fire, and doing all these cool things. But I had a wake-up call, and what I realized was there wasn't a lot of room for brothers to do it. And, with my height and my build, there wasn't many short actors doing any action. So you was lucky to get dub number one, where you have a bandana and a tank top on, getting shot, or, getting arrested or something. And, there were plenty of TV shows, but it wasn't enough to make a living. And it wasn't, something that fulfilled my passion for martial arts. So, after a few years, I started saying, okay, let's see what else is out there. And fight choreography, really interests me. And, coming from the tournament circuit, I used to compete in open katas, and, we used to make up katas. So to me, there was an invisible fight scene without people around. Now, when you put people at the end of those chop, punch, spin, block, you got a fight scene started. So, the transition was kind of easy, but it was more of a means to make a living and yet feel like I was fulfilling my passion, and that was the start of that journey.
Well, I think that's an excellent point. In fact, if you can look them up, and just to go briefly, we've got Altered Carbon, which is out right now on Netflix, Snowfall, we got The Fate of the Furious, Rebel, Max Steel, Kickboxer Vengeance, The Bronx Bull. I mean, the list goes on and on. And there's a little thing called Captain America Civil War. I mean, you've done stunts, but also getting into fight choreography. As you mentioned, guys that are out there doing weapons and also open kata, you're doing exactly what you're being paid to do on a movie set. For the creative purpose, do you start, like, for example, if you're on a project and you got this guy, and you know kind of what they can do you build around your talents, strengths, and try to go away from the weaknesses? Or do you start with, you know what, I saw this and it's going to be great. How do you start to build that great fight choreography?
Well, if I have a meeting with the director and the producers, what we want to do is lay down a vision and a tone for the film. So we exchange ideas, about what's in the script versus my job, which is to make what's not in the script come to life. Yeah, I can read words concerning what it says the hero should do. Now, when that hero enters the room, it's up to me to go, okay, he spots a glass on the table, he spots the rug is movable, so he's going to hit the glass and then kick the rug and make the guy trip. That's not in the page or written. So I try to come up with more creative things and then see what the actor can do from there, whether he has any type of skills, whether he took boxing or any type of sports, to see how we can utilize his strengths. Because, choreographers and martial artists, we can be very intimidating to actors because most of the time we're the legit badasses in their eyes. You know, we're not faking it. So sometimes you have to play yourself down just a little. You know, you can't be the guy walking in the room throwing 1080s and, you know, side swipes and all these different things, and that's not a part of the scene. But there's a place and time for all of that, too. So I usually try to build around the director's vision, the script, then the talent, and then see how it all comes together.
I think that's definitely a great answer. And also, I mean, you know, I go through your pictures. I follow you on social media. I love some of the pictures that are being shown right now on the show. One of the specific ones were for like the little mini advertisement for some of the shows on the DC shows. There's The Flash, there's Arrow, and they had what they call the Superhero Fight Club. Could you tell me about that experience? Because I absolutely love that promo. You get to see all the characters get in there and they fight each other and everything. What it was like to do that?
That was actually pretty fun for me because a friend of mine called me up to help him out, a guy by the name of Bam Bam, James Bamford. He's over basically the DC universe on TV. And we've been wanting to work together. We knew each other for years. You know, sometimes it's good to just simply be respectful to people, be cordial, and, you know, honor their work and honor their wishes concerning, you know, complimenting them or seeing their work and giving them a thumbs up or something. So he was busy, and he couldn't make it to L.A. because we shot that in L.A. And the funny thing is, all the DC shows, at least most of them, shoot in Canada. So he asked me if I was available to oversee everything for him, and he would try to make it in. Now, he knows I can choreograph too, but he gave me a template. And basically, I followed his template, and he asked me, to, make some changes or adjust here and there. And then he came in, like, in mid-shoot to help oversee it as well. But that was a tag team thing right there. So it was fun to work on that because, I love superheroes, and it's always good to try to put your touch on them. But, with all due respect, that's his universe, that's his world, and he just allowed me to step in for a weekend. But it was a good time.
Again, if you haven't seen that promo, go to YouTube and search for Superhero Fight Club. It's absolutely one of the coolest things that I've seen. Now, of course, you may or may not have heard there's a pretty big movie that's opening this week. I'm really excited about it. Black Panther. Did you ever think, I know from being a fan of superheroes like you mentioned, that you would see that this movie for this character would make the light of day?
It's a yes and a no. It's yes, I thought it would happen, but no, I didn't think it would be this epic, meaning get the right people, get the right cast, get the right director, get the right vision, seemingly have the right story and the right momentum. It just feels like all the stars are lined up just right, and here we are, seemingly break records, and, hopefully there's a trickle-down effect of, that, there's more minority stories out there, but, it's great that we got this one going, but, I always tell people, never forget, to me, Blade started it,
Exactly.
So it always goes back to he was the first superhero, but, an intelligent way of putting it was Blade was more cross-appeal because his race didn't drive the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther, there's a level of pride in it because, it's great to see us on screen as rulers and kings with intelligence and money and power and political intelligence. That's just something we're not used to. But he was the perfect character to bring that to life. So I look forward to seeing it. In fact, I'm on my way to see it right now.
Oh, so you get to see it a day early?
I'm on my way to a screening right now.
Oh, man. I'm gonna text you for spoilers. I'm a kind of guy. I'll get spoilers and I'll still go see the movie. So, well, I definitely appreciate your time with us. I know we were going back and forth today, and I know you're busy. I'm gonna look you up when I come out there to compete in the month. Hopefully, we can link on up. One last question I want you to answer: if you had to give advice to yourself about, like I said, I know I said that. Hey, you've made it, and I know, who to suggest who they made it there. But if you had to give advice to your younger self, maybe there's someone listening right now, what would you tell yourself to what you're doing now, to when you first started out? What encouragement or what hints would you give them to help progress in this field?
For me, I would definitely say exercise more patience. Learn more about what's happening behind the scene, how everything comes together. It's not about you. It's not about your skills. It's not about how ripped you are. It's not about, you being able to flip and kick and all these different things. It goes so much further than that. Learn the ins and out. Become more valuable. Be a team player. That way everybody can utilize you, and you can't be put into a box. So that's definitely something I would definitely tell myself to, advance further, maybe not make as many mistakes, and, reach your destination sometimes a little faster with less bruises on your ego.
That is always a good destination. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. Enjoy that preview. I want to see. I just want to see some stars. Hit me with a text later on tonight because I see it Thursday, but it's not Tuesday.
Got it. Well, thank you for your time, man. I appreciate it. Make sure you hit me up when you get in town.
I most certainly will. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking the time. Mr. Stovall, enjoy the movie.
Hey, thanks again, bro. Take care.
All right. There you go. A legit, in my opinion, Hollywood guy. I've known him for a while. He's done some great things out in the land of Hollywood. Sometimes this is referred to, but, hey, to each their own. Up next, let me go ahead and start preparing to get our next guest on the line, who is Mr. Anthony Price. He is, of course, the new head coach of Team KTOC, who you all, definitely the announcement was made. And he actually made his premiere as the coach this weekend at Jesse Ray's King of New York tournament. And I'm getting him on the phone right now. I know he was watching, so let me get ready to punch him on up here. All right, got thumbs up. He's ready. This is how the show works when you got one guy. You gotta do the texting and everything, all the prep by yourself. But it's all good. We're gonna get to where we're going. Anybody out there ready to go? Anybody out there going to see Black Panther? While I dial Mr. Price up. Dialing. Hello?
Hello?
Welcome to the show, Mr. Anthony Price. Mr. Price, thank you for taking the time.
What's up, Mallory?
How you doing?
I'm blessed, brother. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I am very excited to talk to you because you just took over for, one of the more popular teams that's out on the national circuit, Team KTOC. But we got a little bit of time to talk about that and everything. In fact, right now, what's on the screen is the actual old school picture of Team Elite. And that is a picture that is classic to me. You and I had the opportunity to share a great team, 1999 to, I can't even remember when it ended. But here you are coming back full circle as a coach. What was your thought process when you first got called to ask? Actually, who called you to invite you to become the coach of Team KTOC?
Well, actually, it was Sue and her husband. They both called me and asked me was I interested. And at first, I was kind of apprehensive of this, coaching period. But, after talking to my wife and my daughter, Nancy, which
Mm-hmm.
and her husband, Malik, they pretty much, kind of said that they think it'd be a good opportunity for me, because, they're the ones that kind of gave me that extra boost to go ahead and try it and do it. So that's how it got going. I kind of put my, I was after I talked to them, to my family and everything, because when you dive into something, you have to dive in it 150%. You just can't do it halfway.
Exactly.
So and that's what I wanted to be able to do with the team, and Sue asked me could I commit to that, and I told her yes. So how I am. I try not to do stuff half.
Oh,
half-ass.
You go full all the way in, and when that picture does scroll back around on the live stream, if you look at that picture, one of the advantages, I was a young guy, and we had we had Ibby Abdullah, we had Gerald Dawson, we had Terry Kramer, we had Tony Young, look at the young guys on that squad. There was Johnny Tension, there was Akim Williams, there's Jesse Ray, there's Jeff Doss, who was a real young guy, and I felt that I had such an advantage because even though you were a competitor on that team, it was like you were a coach to me. In fact, I remember one time we had a conversation. If I remember right, we were at the it was called AKA Grands back then, and it was the first time you had seen me fight. And I don't even know if we were on the same team together at that point. And you said, "I like you. You're scrappy." And being on the same team, to be able to lean towards your experience, your mentorship. Is that the type of thing you want to bring to KTOC now?
Yeah, I want to try to, bring some old school fashion with the new school fashion. So that's what what I'm bringing to the plate. Because the sport has changed a lot. Think about it. Matter of back then when we, looking at the picture now, I was
young guys, man.
In my late 30s, early 40s, and I was, I had settled down a lot because when you're a young fighter, you waste a lot of technique, but then when we got on that team, that was towards the end of my career pretty much. So you got to learn how to pick your spots. You just can't go out there and just throw anything anymore and be flashy and stuff like that. So, it brings back some good memories, though.
Oh, absolutely.
We had some good times.
We had some very, very, very good times. One of the things that
and then you have to remember we had a good sponsor too.
Oh, absolutely.
He was he was a great sponsor. So we have to definitely give him love.
For those of you who are not familiar, the gentleman's name he's talking about is Spencer Arrington, who was also in his late 30s and 40s, an incredibly nice guy. He was the sponsor of Team Elite first, then CJB, and CJB 2000. A really nice guy, down to earth, and a true martial artist guy. Loved karate, back and forth, wanting to always do things. So definitely a shout out and tip of the hat to Spencer.
To Spencer. He was a group. Like you said, he was a competitor because I used to compete against him, and we used to fight each other. And then to turn around and get on it when he started the team and asked to get on that team. Then that was just honor in itself right there, because you have to, here you are, you're fighting the guy, and then you turn around and then you're actually teammates of the sponsor. So that was some great times, man, some great times.
Now, to get some people, to catch them up, since they may or may not be familiar, let's review your career, and I'm going to give you the start point for wherever you want to begin it, where what team you want to begin it. But let's give a little bit of the credentials, because a lot of people, and it's not their fault. We didn't have YouTube back then, so the only thing they may have been told about you is from the instructor or from their instructor's instructor. Like, oh, AP, oh man. So let's if you would briefly give us your karate resume.
Well, my karate resume started back in 1971 when I first, started taking martial arts. Mm-hmm. Back in June the 6th, 1971. That's when I first started my first martial arts class, and my instructors were great instructors. African American instructors. Everybody thought I had a Korean instructor, but my instructors, they were African American in the hood. So, we started in 1971. I started in 1971 under the tutelage of Grandmaster George Warden and John Johnson. Mm-hmm. Grandmaster Warden, he passed away about 4 years ago. So my other instructor, Grandmaster John Johnson, is still alive. And actually, I'm going to be hooking up with him tomorrow at my studio. He's coming out to the studio. But that's where I have to say that, because that's where it all started. Mm-hmm. And I got an opportunity back in 1983, a good friend of mine who I used to compete against and fought, numerous of times. Toki Hill had hooked up with a gentleman, Harry Cribbs, and they were starting a martial arts team, which was the Budweiser karate team.
The legendary Budweiser karate team.
You know, right. That was, you know, that's pretty much where everything kind of, you know, it gave me an opportunity. You had a sponsor that was, you know, giving different individuals the sponsorship, you know, along with myself. It was Richard Plowden, Kevin Thompson, Tony Young, man, and, you know, just some great guys. Terry Kramer, of course. So, you know, we all were on the Budweiser team for about either 2 or 3 years. And then we ended up getting a opportunity to get on another team, which is the Atlantic team, because Coach Chuck Merriman was the coach of the Budweiser team, and he left and pretty much brought us with him when he started the Atlantic World Karate Team. And the Atlantic World Karate Team is really, I mean, it just really elevated my career. The Budweiser did, but Atlantic and Trans World all kind of like lifted it up, and I mean, we were going everywhere. I mean, competing against some of the best, you know, on the West Coast, you know, up in, you know, the East Coast, the Midwest, down in the South and stuff. So, you know, that's really, you know, where it really started at. So, but I mean, we could be on this phone forever. I mean, my career goes back 40, you know, almost 45 years competing, you know, because I competed as an underbelt, you know. So, I mean, that's where it really elevated at when we got on the Atlantic World Karate Team, and it was by, you know, Skipper Ingram and Chuck Merriman that really got that program going, and the rest is history. So,
I was going to say that just some of the names that you have named, a lot of, you know, guys that might be there competing now, like, oh, Terry Kramer, that's the guy who he's a good center ref, or, you know, he's it. Now, TC has been through and through one of the great forms, weapons fighter. Of course, you mentioned Richard Plowden, of course, who's the head coach of Team Impex. You mentioned Kevin Thompson, and what more needs to be said about the great Kevin Thompson, you know, and I find it a privilege just to have said that I fought that guy one time in New Jersey, and I'm glad that he was looking in my eyes, because he would have seen my knees rattling. I was so scared to fight him that day. It was a shame. And then when I hit him, I looked surprised when the judges called point my way. You know, these guys are. If there was a Mount Rushmore for karate, they would definitely be up there. And you know, as I mentioned again, now you're stepping into the role as coach, and you had the opportunity to go to Jesse Ray's tournament, the King of New York, this past weekend, and overall was won by Matthew Williams, who is a member of Team KTOC, and Faith Williams is also a member of Team
right. Matthew
KTOC.
won the Open. Yeah, you know, I want to give a shout out too. So, you know, I've been blessed, man. The Creator has blessed me a whole lot, because I had a chance in my career to compete against some of the greatest martial arts, you know, competitors, you know, like you mentioned, Terry, Richard, Tony, the great Kevin Thompson, you know, I mean, the list goes on, you know, there's Mike Smith.
Oh, yeah, big Mike Smith.
I mean, if it hadn't been for martial arts, right, that's what I'm saying. Steve Anderson, I mean, Mafia Holloway, the great Mafia Holloway. You know, these guys were just, you know, I mean, Chip Wright. I mean, these guys were just, I mean, just beasts in the ring. So I had a chance to compete, you know, Alvin Crowder, you know, some of the guys out in Cali. You know, I mean, I had a chance to compete against some of the best in my era. So that's a blessing for me. It's a blessing. But
Absolutely.
as far as you know, this weekend, yes, it was a great experience. You know, my daughter called me yesterday when I was at the airport and asked me, said, Dad, how does it feel for you to coach? I told her, you know, it's so good, because, you know, you get a chance to, you know, strategize and analyze different fighters, what their weaknesses are and what their strengths are.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can kind of, try to, if we can't pick them apart for your fighter to beat them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that was a great experience, And my wife asked me that today, too. She kind of asked me, well, how did you feel? And I told her, I said, yeah, I felt good. It felt good. I ain't going to lie. It did.
It is definitely good experience. And speaking of, where will we see you at next as the head coach of Team KTOC?
Well, right now, it looks like I might be going out to Proper's tournament.
Oh.
So, because we got some fighters that are going out there. So it's still up in the air, but I might be going out there to Oakland. And, I'm a big Oakland Raiders fan anyway.
Yes, indeed.
So
you are a proud member of Raider Nation.
That would be just like going home,
mm-hmm.
right? Home away from home. So, but we talked about that. So, but, again, giving props to Sue and Rick for giving me a precious opportunity to, to do this.
Well, I know, speaking definitely from me knowing you, they've picked a very seasoned and
they took a chance. They took a chance on me, Mallory. They took a chance on me because I had a couple of teams that were, kind of looking at me, but they never really showed any interest in me. My wife said probably it's because I'm a straight shooter and I don't take no BS off nobody. That's what she said earlier.
That is absolutely the truth.
He said that was absolutely the truth.
That I will confirm that.
And maybe I scared some. Well, hey, I try to be a straight shooter because I would want somebody to be a straight shooter. As long as you're going, we're not all perfect,
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're going by the rules and you're doing what you're supposed to do, then there's no issues. But yes, I am a straight shooter, and I am.
That's
yeah, but I have passion about what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I have passion about this art. I love this art. This art has been my life. So yes, I do. Yeah, I'm a straight shooter.
Well, let me ask you one quick question. I know we've talked about this at other tournaments. I would really like to get and sit down with you and have a nice long conversation about your career, specifically for the Metro All-Stars. But before we give a little tease about that, I want to talk about the special relationship that you and Jody have, because when we were on the team together, Team Elite, it seemed like every weekend Jody was catching a bus going down to Cincinnati to train with you, and he has mentioned you often for helping him get where he was in his career and everything. And you guys have had a great, almost like a father-son relationship, from my point of view.
Yeah. Jody, you think about it, back then when we were on Team Elite, Jody was on there, and, he was a young lion, hungry, and he came up to me because I didn't know him. Some of the guys up in the East Coast knew him, but I didn't know him. To have this person, this individual come up to you right before you get ready to do team fights and ask you, hey, can I come and train with you? And he was like a fly. It's like, hey man, can you wait till we get finished, doing team fights? But he was always persistent.
Mm-hmm.
He was, and I'll never forget me and Richard, we talked about it. We was like, man, he's going to be the next one. And turned out, he was the next one. He was hungry.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted it. When we trained, I took him through some, I was out of school yesterday before we flew back here to Cincinnati, and he was telling Joey and Matthew a story where, I took him over to a track, and I got on my bike and made him run around the track, which I did while I was on my bicycle.
This almost sounds like a movie montage, like you would see it,
Yeah, right. So, but the thing about it, he didn't quit, Mallory. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And back then, I used to train hard. I used to do some crazy stuff, and I was just trying to break him to see if he had it of what he wanted. And he wanted to be a champion. He wanted to be, I always ask people, what do you want to do? You want to be good, you want to be great, or you want to be a legend? Everybody can be good. Some people can be great, but not most people can be a legend. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, he wanted to be a legend. So, I took him around that track. We were over there for about 2.5, 3 hours. Then I made him run the stadium steps. And then I made him jog home while I rode my bike home, which at that time we lived about 1.5 miles. Mm-hmm. And my wife was pissed off because she said I was trying to kill him. No, it wasn't that I was trying to kill him. I was just trying to,
You want to see where his heart was at. You want to see.
Just trying to get him some, get him in shape and, just, building that character in him. So, and yes, he used to come, and he came back like about 3 or 4 months later. He did. I think with that 1 year, he came and trained with us for about 4 or 5 times. Mm-hmm. But he was hungry, and then you could see it in his fighting back then. And as he got older, he just displayed it even more, towards the end of his fighting career. And now, he's has one of the most successful karate studios and some great students. I mean, now I was out of school yesterday before we flew back here, and just his program, and even though he's a businessman mm-hmm. and karate. See, back then he was just strictly a karate fighter. Mm-hmm. He was a competitor. Right. Now he's a businessman, mm-hmm. and he still teaches his students, training them hard. And and still being a businessman, he's not watering it down, and it's showing in his students. So yes, I'm very proud of him. I mean, he took it to a different level. He took it to the next level. So I'm very proud of him.
I am definitely going to ask Dottie the next time I see him. I say I need to get your perspective of when you were running on that track and AP's on the bike, probably ringing that bell and just kicking it in the 5th gear, and you're running behind him. I want to hear what he was thinking, and then he got told he had to jog home. But let me again. I definitely
making him do side kicks around a track. You have to think about that. It was a track that you have to kick around that whole. It's like when people jog and stuff. Mm-hmm. The track was. It wasn't a small track. It was a regulated track and field. So, and have him to do side kicks, front kicks around, side kicks, back kicks, axe kicks around that track. He almost died, but he did not quit.
That is very important. He, not quitting at that point. That's like I said, I could hear the music, maybe push it to the limit as he's running around. I could see him maybe, in my mind it plays out, you're lapping him on the bike, you're ringing the little bike's bell, and Johnny's out there sweating, and then you tell him switch to front kicks, and then, you go home, you're like, well, let's see if he shows up, and, in comes the very tired Johnny Tension, and you kind of shake your head, it's like, he didn't quit. Okay, all right, maybe this guy has something. That's how that plays out in my head.
Watch videos.
Yeah,
and then you watch videos. Because I have a big stack of old fight videos of, some all of us, even you in the videos too. All of us fighting back in the day. And he stayed up watching the videos all night, falling asleep, taking different things from different people. And, in order to be a complete fighter, that's what you got to do. Sometimes you got to go back in the past mm-hmm. to get what you want in the future. You have to. Like you said, when I started, we didn't have, YouTube and Google and all that. Mm-hmm. You kind of had to either read about it in a book or to actually see that competitor at a karate tournament.
That's absolutely true.
But these fighters now, they got access to everything. They can go on sportsmartialarts.com and Point Fighter to look at the videos and everything. See, we didn't have that back in the days.
No, definitely. Yeah. Well, let me get, as we bring to a close, I want to get you, and I'm going to time you because I don't want to give it all away right now. I'm going to mention this name, and I'm going to give you 60 seconds to tell me, and we're going to expand on this. I promise. I want to get this out this year. Hector Santiago, who was the coach of the Metro All-Stars. You got 60 seconds. I know it's hard to get all your thoughts in 60 seconds, but when I mention his name, what comes to your mind?
I'll tell you, one of the greatest coaches of all time. Passionate about the art, helped a bunch of people out, kids that, didn't have anything. I've seen it, firsthand myself. A great mind of the martial arts also. He was a competitor, he competed, and, he helped out so many people, there's so much I can say about him. I love the guy. Mm-hmm. I love him dearly, but he should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm gonna tell you, he should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't care what he did. He should be in the Hall of Fame because, like I always tell people, everybody gets skeletons in their closet.
Absolutely.
So and we have to forgive. And it says it in the book, in all the books. So that's my perspective of him. He's great in my eyes, in my heart. He's great.
And that's why we have to sit down. We got to let you unpack and expand all that from just the times that we've talked. There's so many stories.
I got some stories.
Oh yes, and as they said, they're all true. But I'm looking forward to seeing you out there with your yellow and black on, wearing KTOC hat and going against some of the coaches that are out there now. Maybe a head-to-head matchup with you and Richard Plowden. As chess masters on the other side. That's going to be interesting.
We're going to try to do the best. We're going to try to make some noise out there. Richard has a great team. There's a lot of great teams out there. We just can't look at one particular team and say that that's who we're gunning for. Because there's great teams. Any team can win on any day. All I'm saying is I just want to try to prepare my team to be able to compete against those teams, and that way we can make some noise. That way people can talk about us. But I can't say that we're because we got respect for everybody's team. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing we do. We got the fighters that we have on our team. We have respect, but we're going to want them to respect us too, because we're coming to we're looking at everybody as a champion in team fights and individuals. So in order to beat the champion, that means you got to train hard and go out and beat them. But we have respect for all of them. We're going to try to shake the boat a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I really appreciate all the time tonight, sir, and I look forward to getting my camera on you. And maybe even miking you up. We might have to run a couple of edits on that, but still, it'd be great to mic you up and get you while you're coaching. But I appreciate the time tonight, and I will see you very soon.
Thank you, Valerie. I appreciate the love, man. Like I said, me and you go way back. We go back about 35 years. You know that?
That is hard to believe, but it is true. It is all
I know,
true.
Man. Time is just going so fast, man. That's the reason why you got to appreciate the time you're here on this earth. And, try to be good with each other. I don't have time to, carry grudges and stuff like that anymore. What I usually do, I just don't be around. What the old saying is you can be far away and, wave at a person if you're having issues and just keep moving. Mm-hmm. As Johnny would say, keep it moving. So, but, I don't have time for, stuff like that anymore. I just want to, live the remainder of my life, because you don't know how long we got. As my karate instructor always says, I'm going to leave everybody with this. You don't know how long you got on this earth. So, I appreciate you, you giving me this opportunity to, put KTOC out there. Not that they wasn't out there, but to to know that what I'm bringing to the table.
Absolutely.
And, trust me, I'm gonna bring a lot to the table.
And as I said before, this man means what he says. So trust me, it's going to be a very interesting year, and I can't wait to cover it. Well, thank you, sir.
All right, my man. Thank you very much. I appreciate the love.
Yes, indeed. I'll see you soon. Take care.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, bye-bye.
Yes, there he is, Anthony Price himself. As he mentioned, yes, he and I were on a team at one time, Team Elite. Man, that's a long time ago, and I would not be remiss if I didn't say he's a teammate. So I see Nick is watching. So, Nick, you got a drink. Big shout out to Mike Conroy, who has been watching, our coach for Team Elite, and also Team CJB. Just thinking about all that brings back a lot of memories, but definitely have to get that Anthony Price back on and give that Metro interview. That's going to be good. As we wrap up to a close, we got a lot of things that's going on with SMA, which I'll try to get down the list really quick. We've got the Compete Nationals coming up next week out in sunny California. I can't wait to get out in some 80-degree weather. That's going to be good for me. And right after that, we got the Irish Open. That will be, let's see here, right there, March 1st through the 4th. Grand Slam Nationals coming up in April. And, of course, we have the Ocean State Grand Nationals April 6th through April 8th. And Grand Slam Nationals, if I remember right, is the weekend after that. New England Open coming up June 1st and June 2nd. Come to see Mighty Joey Greenhall and all the good folks up there in New England. The Battle of Atlanta, of course, June 14th through 15th, through 16th. And the U.S. Open ISCA World Martial Arts Championship in Orlando, Florida. A favorite of mine, going down to Disney's Coronado Springs Resort. And then bringing it home for me for the U.S. Capitol Classics August 3rd through the 4th. Diamond Nationals, of course, October 5th and 6th, and the WKC Championships in Dublin, Ireland. Always good to go back and visit the great nation of Ireland. Such good, good times are there. Of course, stay tuned to sportmartialarts.com and our Facebook and our Instagram, our Twitter for all the latest and breaking news for tournament sports karate. I'm looking forward to coming out to compete and seeing everybody compete. It's kind of redundant, but still at that great tournament. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you soon.